What I want to teach you today, your government and private universities and professors will never teach you. This is because the education in Africa is a colonial education to keep you in the dark of brainwashing. I feel sad for you if as a black man you are still reading the Bible. The greatest weapon formed to strip you from your dignity, your truth and your identity is that weapon of mass destruction you refer to as the Bible. The Exodus spoke of an Egyptian pharaoh by the name of Pharaoh Ramesses II or Pharaoh Ramesses the Great, who they said enslaved the Israelites and refused to let them go. But when the remains of Setaiwan and the remains of Pharaoh Ramesses II, when their remains were discovered, nowhere was it mentioned that both father and son enslaved the Israelites. Nowhere in Egyptian recorded history, both on the walls and papyrus, is it mentioned of the Israelites being enslaved in Kemet, the ancient name for Egypt, which means the land of the blacks. And there was no story of anyone by the name of Joseph in Egypt. Go and do your research. Now, the Pharaoh Ramesses, who they claimed died in the Red Sea, lived up to 90 years. He was never drowned. He suffered and died from arthritis and not in the Red Sea. He was the one who built most of the temples you see in Egypt today, and he lived a victorious life in many battles. Did you know that the people you call Israelites were never enslaved in Egypt, but in the land of Canaan, which is present-day Israel? The book of Exodus, I will say this year, the book of Exodus is a propaganda against the Africans in Egypt. The Israelites came to places in Africa as students, not as slaves. You must teach this truth to your African children at home. Tell them these things I am telling you today. Let them know that the Bible is the greatest weapon formed against black people, and black people must return it to their oppressors. Now, the first Israelites was not born until 1700 to 1600 BCE. This was during the 13th dynasty of Egypt, which was also when the Hyksos from Asia ruled a part of Egypt for 108 years. The historical origin of the Jews started with Abraham, a mythical Jewish figure in Jewish folklore that was born in Sumeria. Now, I need people to know that the land Sumeria or Sumer was founded by Nimrod, a black man from the land of Cush, and Cush is present-day Sudan and Ethiopia. I also need people to know that there is no place known as Middle East. It was a deliberate attempt to take Egypt out of Africa, which was why they created the Middle East. Now, the place you call Middle East was part of North Africa. Now, I also need people to know that all those areas you call Middle East, which is Mesopotamia, that is Sumeria, which is Iraq today, everyone there were very black because it was a black man named Nimrod, the son of Cush in Sudan and Ethiopia, who is the founder of Sumeria. And Abraham, the first Jew, if he really existed as they claimed, would have been very black or dark brown. Now, Abraham, who was born in Sumeria, moved to the land of Canaan, which is present-day Israel, where he and his family were persecuted by the Hittites. In fact, it was in the land of Canaan, which is present-day Israel, the Israelites or Jews were enslaved for hundreds of years before they migrated to Egypt. They were not enslaved in Egypt as they told us in the book of Exodus. In Egypt, they came with a total number of 70. During this time, the book of Genesis was not written. The Old Testament was not also written. No one is known as Yahweh, and there was no Adam and Eve story yet. In Egypt, the people you call Jews or Israelites were accommodated, sheltered, fed, and educated in the Egyptian mystery school by our African ancestors from 1675 BCE to 700 BCE, when they finally completed their education in Egypt. Now, the Israelites left Egypt and Ethiopia with a population of 600,000. These are people who were 70 in number when they came to Africa. They left with an official language known today as Hebrew, and they left with a religion known today as Judaism. All I tell you, people of the sun, they stole from Africa. They even claimed that they built the pyramids in Egypt, when in fact all the pyramids you see in Egypt were built from the 3rd, 4th to the 5th dynasty, while the Israelites came to Egypt as students in the 13th dynasty. The pyramids you see in Egypt was not built by slave labor. It was built by free laborers in Egypt who were paid and were well fed. According to some of the Egyptian papyri and wall writings, the health of the Egyptian masons, that is the builders of the pyramids, was the primary responsibility of the Egyptian pharaohs, who they are building the pyramid for. The first pyramid is still standing in Saqqara, a place in Egypt. This pyramid is older than the creation story in the Bible. It is older than Yahweh in the Bible. It is older than the story of Adam and Eve. We can still see this pyramid standing till date in a place in Egypt they call Saqqara. But there is no evidence of your biblical Tower of Babel. You have to wake up and embrace knowledge.